COVID-19 on long-term societal impacts such as changes in consumer behaviors, the nature of work and the role of technology, both at work and at home, will change our way of life forever for us as individual, as a workforce, and as a society. These social dimensions of the crisis, including general frictions and continuous stress on pupils' well-being, will be felt by people worldwide and will create substantial societal consequences for the long term. But crisis moments also present opportunity. More sophisticated and flexible use of technology, less polarization, a revived appreciation for the outdoors and life's other simple pleasures. No one knows exactly what will come, but here is our best step at a guide to the unknown ways that society will change. So to discuss about the COVID-19 impact on society, I would like to invite my first guest. He is Dr. P.K. Abraham. Dr. Abraham is the turnaround strategist and inspiring leader. He is the CEO of True Coat Paints Kochi. Dr. Abraham was General Manager of Fertilizers and Chemical Travancore, popularly known as FACT Limited. He was Managing Editor and Managing Director of Rashtra Deepika, which is the first Malayalam newspaper. Director of the famous McFast Business Schools in Kerala and Dean of Xavier Institute of Management, Bangalore. He is an icon of success for many leaders in media today. People who had worked with him had flourished in their careers in various fields. He encouraged warriors and worked with them to revive the project successfully. Welcome, Dr. P.K. Abraham, to our show. Dr. Abraham, you are in this field for so many years. You have worked in a company, you have worked in a media house also, rather you have turned around that media house, and you also worked as in a business school and as a Dean of Xavier Institute of Management, Bangalore. You now, for last 4.5 or 5 months, there is a lots of change, especially in the society. So we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on society. Dr. P.K. Abraham, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal Goyal. Thank you for your glowing introduction. I try to rise up to your expectation in my presentation and later discussions. I would also address our fellow panelists, Mr. Acharya, Justice Acharya, Mr. Rakesh Kumar Jha, and Madam Shetty. I will start about the impact of COVID-19 on society. As in the introduction, our editor, Lal Goyal, has said, it is a huge, vast subject. The society is so huge, so vast. It is a superset and it contains innumerous small and large subsets. And when we look at COVID has impacted all the walks of life. If you take a historic or the probability concept, it is perhaps the biggest black swan. You all know the black swan concept. It is the biggest black swan hit on humanity, much bigger than the Middle Age plague or the 1918-1919 Spanish flu, because it has impacted almost all countries, more than 180 countries or nearly 200 countries or nations in the world. Almost every country is impacted except very few. So we will briefly, given the short time by our editor, I will try to confine my presentation. We'll go to various important subsets of the society. The first superset on the subset is politics. What is the impact of COVID on politics and nation and the country administrations and the government? You know, if you look at China, our great leader Xi Jinping is simply surviving because he sacrificed the provincial leaders of Wuhan and the central China. And of course, the Communist Party is a dictatorial and a totalitarian regime. So the leadership continuing despite enormous anger, distrust, and rebellion from the people. They are in a position to quell it. If you look at the Middle East or Europe or Latin America, you can see that the people are so angry. They are all angry against the government. Of course, we know that the government has limitations, but when they look at, they can be angry only with, first with God, and after that perhaps with the government. In our great country, United States, we all know that the President Trump is losing his popularity day by day. And when the election for the new president in the United States comes, we will not be surprised if Trump is thrown away. First time a sitting or a sitting president, it is a rare history in the United States that a sitting president is not re-elected. But in Mr. Trump's case, we can see that he will be thrown away. Not most likely, I can see that the anger.
Excuse me, Dr. Ibrahim, can we just be on our subject, please? We are not discussing the Americans election.
I'm saying about the impact of COVID on politics. And it comes, and in most places, you can see that the people are really angry. So that is about the politics, impact on politics. Secondly, we will look at the economics. If you look at the economics, that is more important or equally important for the society. You can see in the three sectors of economics, the primary sector, that is the agriculture and allied sector, the impact of COVID is very limited in India and also in many other countries. But in the secondary sector, that is manufacturing and allied activities, the impact is different in different sectors. It affects the MSME in a way, it affects the manufacturing big industries, medium industries, but the effect is there. And the third sector, service, is also largely affected, but not in all areas. It is affected, especially in urban areas. In urban areas, the service is, most of the services are down, and its re-emergence will take a long time because it is the people who are mostly concentrated in urban areas, and as you all know, the COVID loves the crowds, and it attacks and it spreads and it dominates the people congregations. So this is the service sector, but there are services which are thriving, like your certain technology, and for example, e-commerce is, and also the merchants, small merchants, not the big malls and other things. So in the service sector, there are areas in which it is going up, doing well. But if you look at the economic impact, you can see that the world GDP is estimated to have impacted by about 10 to 15% in various ways in various countries. But its impact on people is on an inverse proportion. If you look at the pyramid of the economic edifice, you can see the lowest 10% of the people are affected the maximum. They are the poor, the marginal, the day workers just living. And the lowest 10% and the next 20% is the worst affected. the joblessness have affected them because of the closure of various sectors, service sectors and various industries and various activities. So the lowest sector is highly affected, but the middle and the upper middle and the rich and the super rich are not that affected because they have the means and they are getting over it. But strangely, the 1% of the top of the pyramid is amassing wealth. The study shows that most of the billionaires have become super billionaires. And even in India, you could see that our richest fellow, Mr. Ambani, has reached the top 4 during this time. What I'm saying is that I'm not against the people making money or rich people become richer. What I'm saying is that the economic impact on the society, on people, as inversely proportional, and the severest is the down. That is the last 10%, the marginal people, the jobless, the landless, those kind of people. So that is about the economic impact on society, on people. Next is the education. One of our panelists is a specialist, and the panelist has said that she will speak on education, but I'm not dwelling on that. But you know that about 10 to 15% of our people, they are in the colleges, in the schools and the universities. And about 90% of them in all over the world, irrespective of whether it is rich or west or east. About 90% of the students are now out of these institutions. They are at home. Okay, they are studying online and using the technology, digital methods. But we all know that a college life, a school life, a kindergarten congregation or a collective learning is no match for technology on the line. So education is another area in which we had massive impact, because about 15-20% of our cream of the population, that is the younger population, which has to grow up and build the world in future, they are all affected. Then of course you can see that religion is affected. All the mosques, churches and temples are closed. No longer the crowds are allowed in any of these pilgrim places. Then you can cite that the family life in the society is various ways, positive ways as well as negative ways affected. Positive ways is that people are reinventing the family ties, the family life. They are finding that nothing to match the family affiliation, the family union. So that and people are coming more on, because you cannot go out and you are with the family, with your wife and children. It has given a positive boost for the people, but it has its own negative sides as well. I mean, too much of these things, familiarity breeds contempt. People tend to. I'm told that the domestic violence has gone up, the alcoholism has gone up, but still the family life people have reinvented, because most of the time, especially the earning members of the family were out and they come only back home by the evening, but now they are working from home. Most of them are working from home. The new norm now is the working from home. That is one change. And then the old age has become a very difficult time now in Western countries. Mostly, you can see that the people who are in the old age homes and places of the such places were affected more. In East, luckily the old people are looked after by the family and by the collective system of the family ties, and it is not that much affected. But if you look at the Europe and the Western areas like United States, if you analyze the death, you can see that most of the people, or the large percentage of the people who died, apart from the lower level people, the destitutes and the poor and the homeless, apart from that, the statistics shows that the old people, okay, they are even otherwise they are infirm, they may have various debilities, they may have morbidity, they may have various diseases, but still the percentage shows that they have been affected by COVID more. But in our place, it is not so. And psychological impact on the society is there. And coping with the COVID, various lifestyle changes has come, and people have to adopt according to that. And I am told that there is even increased tendency and increased number of people who are even committing suicide. So these are all the major impacts.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim, for giving the details. And according to Dr. Ibrahim, this COVID-19 impacted on different sectors of the society. And first he said the politics, and he says because there is anger in a few of the countries, and those countries are likely to change their leadership. Secondly, he says the economics, and according to him, the economy, the lower sector or the lower the income group is not there, that they are more affected because of the service sector, which is totally closed in the cities. Only those are the of e-commerce, etc. They are working, or the agriculture sector is working. But according to him, the super rich class is becoming more and more rich. And he said about the religion, that religion is also impacted because all the religious places are religious places are closed, whether it's church or temple or mosque or girjas. And he also mentioned about the family. He says that because of the COVID, now the people are staying at home, and so they have become more family oriented. And the only thing is that domestic violence and the consumption of alcohol has increased. But he says that these are all negative impacts which have come because of the COVID-19, and that's impacted the society. Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim, for giving your views. Now I would like to go to my next guest. He is Mr. Yamni Ramanacharya. Mr. Yamni Ramanacharya is an advocate of Supreme Court. He is a farm owner. He is a renowned social and political worker at Mathura. Mr. Acharya need not any more introduction. He says that is much. So now we would like to know from you. But before that, I would, you have heard what Dr. Ibrahim has said. He mentioned very clearly that the impact is on the all spectra of the society, whether it is political, religion, economic, family, and all these or the religion. So according to him, its giving impact is very negative, and that's why the impact is coming to the society. Now we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on society. Mr. Yamni Ramanacharya, please.
First of all, good morning to all of you. I think you are hearing me.
Yes, please.
I will be very precise in this matter and won't go in length. But one thing is there, that COVID-19 has affected our life positively as well as negatively. Positively इस मायने में, लाल साहब, as per your directions, हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों चलेगा.
Yes, please.
Positively इस मायने में ज़्यादा सही है कि level of discipline has affected our day-to-day activities in life. और जो एक बहुत ही अच्छी चीज है, बहुत अच्छी है. हम लोग ज़्यादा डिसिप्लिन्ड हो गए, सफाई को लेकर भी हो गए, कुछ हाइजीनिक भी बहुत ज़्यादा हो गए, हाइजीन को लेकर भी बहुत ज़्यादा हो गए. साथ ही साथ में अगर आप नज़र डालें तो हमारा नज़रिया बदल गया. अब हम जरा सफाई की तरफ ज़्यादा ध्यान देते हैं. जब हम कहीं जाते हैं तो जरा डिस्टेंस मेंटेन करने की कोशिश करते हैं. We put on mask sometimes, most of the time. You are having talks with someone, so you may unmask your face, but masking has almost become a part of your life. That is what I have been noticing. मैं प्रैक्टिकल चीजें ही बता रहा हूं आपको, और साथ ही साथ में जो एक COVID-19 has acted as a social reformer also. एक्स्ट्रा वैकेंसी बंद हो गई, मैरिजेस में जो हुआ करती थी, नंबर ऑफ गेस्ट्स कट डाउन, लिमिट इज देयर. कितना हमारा देखिए एक्सपेंसेस बच गए, कितनी जो हम लोग एक गेट टुगेदर करते थे, मैरिजेस में होता था, वी यूज्ड टू इनवाइट 4,000 पीपल, 1,000 पीपल, अपने अपनी पोजीशन के हिसाब से, अपने स्टेटस के हिसाब से, अपनी अपनी इकोनॉमिकल कैपेबिलिटीज के हिसाब से भी यूज्ड टू ऑर्गेनाइज द फंक्शंस. तो ये इस पर भी बहुत ज्यादा सुधार आया, और अब तो वर्चुअल मैरिजेस होने लग गई. वीसी आज भी आपके साथ कर ही रहे हैं, नहीं तो अक्सर आप कभी मंगलौर बुला लेते थे या इधर आ जाते थे, सब बातें होती थी. तो वो भी अब एक लाइफ का पार्ट बनता जा रहा है. इसके अलावा एक सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये हो गई कि pollution level has come down drastically. Your rivers are more clear. Atmosphere, जिस तरह से भी आप देखें तो पॉल्यूशन भी आपका लेवल बहुत कम हो गया, और जो बड़ी अच्छी बात है. तो पहले देखा करते थे एयर पॉल्यूशन, रिवर पॉल्यूशन, बहुत शिकायत आ रही थी, गंजेस, यमुना, सरस्वती एंड अदर रिवर्स, इंपॉर्टेंट रिवर. तो ये सब तो हमारे सोशली इट हैज एक्टेड एज अ सोशल रिफॉर्मर. लेकिन वी आर अ डेवलपिंग कंट्री. नेगेटिवली अगर आप देखें तो हमारी आज की जीडीपी एज पर रिपोर्ट ऑफ द यूएन, यूनाइटेड नेशंस, it has come down to alarming 1.2%, which is a cause of worry for a developing country like India, where people, I think 150 million people are unemployed. Level of unemployment has risen to alarming level. What we do? When about 15 crores unemployed youngsters are there, what we will do? Law and order problem will arise. Other related problems will arise. So that is a very, very alarming, and we have to be we have to get worried about it. Number two, 34% पॉपुलेशन हमारी आज भी डेली वेजर्स है. जब आप व्हेन यू आर कन्फाइंड टू होम्स, डेली वेजर्स को आप कितना बुलाएंगे? कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क हो नहीं रहा, इकोनॉमिकल एक्टिविटीज बहुत ज्यादा अफेक्टेड हुई है, लाल साहब, व्हाट आई फील. और तो ये सारी बातें जो हैं ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. और हम लोग जितना आप जाएंगे और डीपली अगर आप इसमें जाएंगे तो अगर हम लोगों ने इकोनॉमिकली अपने आप को साउंड नहीं किया, जैसा मैं समझता हूं आज किसी भी देश की ताकत उसकी इकोनॉमी है, इकोनॉमिकल स्ट्रेंथ है उसकी, जो कि बहुत जरूरी है. चाइना आज डोमिनेट करने की कोशिश करता है बिकॉज ऑफ इट्स इकोनॉमिकल स्ट्रेंथ. हम लोग उसको फेस कर रहे हैं, अपने रिसोर्सेस को जितना है हम लोग उसमें, तो उसके लिए भी हमको सोचना पड़ रहा है, वीपन्स हमको खरीदना पड़ रहा है, हमको इंपोर्ट करना पड़ रहा है, आर्म्स, एम्यूनिशंस, एवरीथिंग. तो इसके लिए वी हैव टू गेट सेल्फ रिलायंट. सेल्फ रिलायंट कोविड-19 में घरों पर हो गए हैं हम लोग, अपने अपना काम करने लग गए, फैमिली गेट टुगेदर होने लग गया, वी आर मोर फ्री टू ईच अदर. लेकिन साथ ही साथ में हमको, सिंस वी आर डेवलपिंग कंट्री, तो हमको हर एक चीज को बैलेंस करना पड़ेगा. और वो बैलेंस ये होगा कि जो हमारे अंदर एलिमेंट ऑफ डिसिप्लिन जो हमारी पर्सनल लाइफ में आया है, वो हम कंट्री के डेवलपमेंट में डाइवर्ट करें, उसका कंट्रीब्यूट करें उसके डेवलपमेंट में, सो दैट आवर कंट्री बिकम्स प्रॉस्परस एंड डेवलप्ड. That is my submission.
Thank you. According to Mr. Yamni Ramanacharya, our country will become prosperous and develop if we will divert our discipline to contribute our discipline to the country. And he said that COVID-19 impact is in negative and positive, but the positive aspects are more, according to him, that people have become very disciplined. They are disciplined in the sense that about the hygiene, about the social distancing, wearing masks, etc. And this discipline is good for a person in his life. And according to him, the earlier the expenses which we are doing, extravagances in the marriages has been now curtailed because only 50 people are allowed. So when earlier the marriages are taking place, 1,000 or 4,000 or more persons are attending, or the guests were attending, that expenses have been saved. And he says the third is because the environment, and on environment, he says the air pollution has improved like anything. It has the air is very good now, the quality of air. And he also mentioned about the rivers which were very dirty earlier, and we all were worried about the cleaning of river. Now the rivers have also become clean. But he says there is a negative aspect also, and that is because we are a developing country, the GDP of the country is only 1.2% according to UN, according to Mr. Acharya. And he also mentioned that about 150 million youth are jobless. And he says that 34% of the workers, daily wages worker, are also sitting at home because we have due to the lockdown, and there is no construction and any major activities are going on. So it is harming our economy. And because of the China thing, we have to be ready for our defense, and we have to import all the arms and ammunition. That is also a outflow of our foreign exchange and our resources. So he says now it is the time that we all should contribute our discipline for the benefit of the country. Thank you, Mr. Acharya, for giving your balanced view, negative and positive both. Now,
may I take your permission to leave, please?
Okay, Mr. Acharya is a very busy Supreme Court advocate, and he has to go. I think he's having some.
I'm sorry,
we understand. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Acharya,
nice of you, sir. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Acharya. Now, I would like to go to our next panelist. He is Mr. Rakesh Kumar Jha. Mr. Rakesh Kumar Jha is a civil services coach, managing director, Discourse Academy, Delhi. He motivate and give interview guidance to UPSC aspirants. He is visiting faculty of political science, general studies, and English language at different reputed institutes. He is doing talk shows for All India Radio, Akashwani, New Delhi. He is called upon by various media organizations to participate as an expert for their live shows on various national and international issues. Conduct and moderate several seminars, including national seminars in the World Book Fair 2016, New Delhi, by National Book Trust, Government of India. He has published several books and writing articles in reputed publications, including his book is The Story, Synonyms and Antonyms of first book, and the second is The Samaj, Police Evam Media Ki Bhumika. He has co-authored one book of India-Mauritius Bilateral Relationship Recent Initiative. Welcome, Mr. Rakesh Kumar Jha, on our show. You have already heard what Dr. Abraham has said about the negative aspect on politics, on religion, on economy, and on everything what he has mentioned, on the education also. And Mr. Yamini Ramanacharya has said the positive aspects about the discipline, about the extra emergencies, the expenses which we saved because of the marriages, as well as he says that the pollution and environment. But he gave the negative aspect about the joblessness, as well as the unemployment, and the 34% of the daily workers. And he said because we are importing now the arms and ammunition, so our outflow of the foreign exchange is also there. So he is positive as well as negative. But now we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on society, Mr. Rakesh Kumar Jha.
So first of all, good morning to Lal Sahab and other my co-panelists. You see, what I want to say that this education is really it's a big sector of our society. So as an educationist, what I feel that because of this COVID crisis, we are not able to approach the students individually. Because suppose you are going to conduct interview, that way online it is okay, but offline if we are going to discuss their personalities, their presentations, their communication skills, their so and so forth. So I think it's the biggest challenge for the mentors like us to interact with the students to give the feedback. So I feel that if this COVID crisis persists long, then I think it's a very big challenge for us. And definitely, because online things are okay, but if offline, we are very much comfortable. So if we analyze this COVID crisis in different perspectives, then there are some positive and some negative aspects. Positive impact that this technology has brought us to give maximum output to the society, be it in the education, be it in the software sector, in other sectors. But if we go by their society of other people, like as Acharya was saying, that suppose the daily wager people, they do not have much resources to earn money. So what they do, they go for, I mean, daily work and they come back. So I think more than 50% people are suffering from this COVID crisis because of their daily needs, and they are very much poor. In other sectors, if you see like industry sector, it's a very big challenge because once the labors are not coming, once resources are not getting by the industrialists, so they have a big challenge for this. So this crisis is not because of this COVID. I think this is the crisis of different things that has made this crisis a very epidemic globally. And as far as it is said that this crisis is also a kind of opportunity for the persons and for the civilizations across the world. When you see that this crisis, before this crisis, a lot of crises had happened, even in 1920, then 1934, a lot of things have happened. So we as an intellectuals should think that what we can do better for the society, be it in the education or in media or in industry or in social sectors, so that we should not only cripple that no, there is a problem that is known as COVID and COVID. Yes, COVID is there. Like in our history, there were a lot of problems. We should concentrate what we can do now. So this is the technological era. This is, we are living in 21st century. So we should think it of that through COVID, what we can do. Now, as an educationist, what we can do. Then definitely we have started from the scratch level. We came to the platform, our studio. We discussed the things. Recently, we have conducted UPPCS, then BPSC. I mean, recently we are also going to have this current affairs topics for the unacademy people also. So I mean, this technology has also given a kind of positive impact in a sense. The persons, the fellow citizen who cannot move one place to another place. Suppose someone is living in a remote area. He or she cannot come to Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore and Chennai because of their own constraints like economic constraint and so. So through this technology, educational things can reach to them with a very cheap rate. Whether it is a lot of brands are available, whether it is me and other people. So this is one positive aspect during this COVID crisis. Second, the school students, yes, there is a big challenge for the school students. Even in the previous talk, I told you that after college, the people students are mature, but the school students are not that much mature. So for them, I mean to say that they have a kind of mutual benefits by the school and students and all. But as far as this uh, academic people are concerned, like UG, PG and competitive students, they can manage with these things with a very cheap rate and all these things. If you go by children's psychology, then yes, there is a big challenge because you know that these children are suffering from a lot of psychological imbalances. One person told me that my daughter has written a poem. It was the kind of emotion that if our school will open, then we could have gone to the school. We enjoyed a lot of ice creams, lot of things. I mean, a 5 year old girl child is saying that kind of thing, that we are feeling a kind of lot of mental block at our home. So I mean that if this COVID crisis persists, then there is a 0 year for these kind of school goer peoples. Even I can recommend the present government that even CBSE Secretary Mr. Anurag Tripathi, I have already talked to HRD Mr. JP Pandey, who is the director in HRD. That should be a 0 year. 0 year means particularly like 2 class, 3 class, 4 class. This should not be promoted. They should be always in that class so that from the next year they can cope up with all the syllabus and all. Besides, as far as vacancies are concerned, Honorable Goel Sahab, you know that this vacancy has come down because of this COVID crisis. So it's the biggest challenge for the students, for the young generation, as it is said that India caters the maximum number of youth in our society in the world. So they have a lot of challenges, and that challenge comes multifaceted. It is not the one dimensional. Suppose someone is going for UPSC, state PCS, bank jobs, railway jobs, other kinds of jobs. So there is not the availability of job vacancies because of the government resources. So that's the biggest challenge for the youth. Already they have been unemployed for a certain period and all. Now almost all vacancies are closed. So this is the biggest challenge, and I think it's the biggest concern for all the society members, because they are the future of India. As Kalam used to say, the future of India lies with the hands of, youth. So youth are, it's the biggest challenge. So there should be a kind of, I think the government should have a kind of policy that what people can do from their home, the social entrepreneurship, a kind of different entrepreneurship skills like in the Western countries. It is not necessarily that if you go by 9 and come by 6, then only you are employed. Any person can be employed. And I think there are a lot of programs, the Skilled India, the smart things and going on. But that should be a kind of, uh, mm, that should be kind of, in a practical or pragmatic way, so that it will be a job yielding process and all. And as far as family life, as you have rightly said, that this all kinds of things are happening. Yes, because family life is also impact, lots of impacts. We have a kind of COVID phobia. Suppose someone wants to visit you or you want to visit to them, they said, no, please don't come. We can discuss these things. So since we are a human being, we are the part of society, we cannot share the things. So that gives a kind of psychological imbalance. If someone is facing any kinds of disease or any problem or sick and all, previously we used to go them, we offer some fruits and we had exchanges and feelings, emotions. So it is a psychological imbalance that we cannot visit to our near and dear, and that's a it's a problem area in our society. Industry, I have already discussed that it's the part of, because of this COVID crisis. Politics, it's definitely because you see now Bihar election is going on. So all the political parties are like virtual rally. These are the things, but this is not going to be any kinds of useful for any political parties. So previously what happened, the political bosses visited, their speakers, their spokesperson used to speakers, they used to visit to convince the things nowadays. And besides, the threat is also that if any person is visiting to the constituency, he can also impact a lot of persons. So this COVID forbids the person, you should not go to the constituency. So it's also biggest challenge in political elections. And maybe because India is not that much capable of online things, kinds of elections things. Already election commissions have decided these things. So it's a political vacuum also, that since you cannot do the social service, you cannot do the go there. So definitely it's a big challenge for the this thing. So these are the things that we have to think in multifaceted, and we have to be, as a Supreme Court lawyer was saying, that we should be also very much economically boosted up, so that because we know that international politics are going, that the China, Pakistan, US, Japan, and all these peoples are having different kinds of things. All of us know that how China is doing, Pakistan is doing. So we should have a lot of economic empowerment, so that we can face their challenges. So I mean, in a precisely, I can say that be it in economics, industry, society, family, at international level, and different kinds of things, we should have developed an alternative model. Please underline this, my sentence, alternative model, because this model is going to be collapsed. Whatever the positive impact have come to that, the cleaning rivers, environments, and all these things, because Gandhi wrote in 1907 only in the Hindu Swaraj. He had seen development of Britain, what we are dreaming to become, like London, Paris, in Delhi and Bangalore. That if such much, such migration push and pull factors are coming, villages are like being destroyed, and then the cities are being created, smart cities are coming. So this development is the matter of the scientist people. But as a layman, I can say that Gandhi had visualized those days only, and that has come to our society. Lots of diseases like dengue, chikungunya, a lot of things are happening in and around. So we should be vigilant, and we should have the natural collection, that the back to nature, whatever we can, little things in the society, in the city or in village, we can go to the root also, and intellectually we can do the things.
Okay,
And
we can.
we should also,
Yeah, Mr. Jha, thank you very much, Mr. Jha, for mentioning that we must go to the root. And Mr. Jha has mentioned about the impact, COVID-19 impact on many sectors, including education, including politics, including all the in the family and environment. But according to him, we have to be very, very careful, because there will be a totally shift, or the total change in the society once the post-COVID era. Thank you, Mr. Jha. Only problem was that your video was not working properly. So please have the proper net using the internet right now. So that might be the reason that we are putting so much load on the internet, and that's why so much problem is going on right now. Now, I would like to go to Ms. Suparna Shetty, our next guest, and she's Ms. Suparna Shetty is Masters in Information Technology. She is pioneer in launching structured curriculum in humanities into schools from foundation to secondary stages. She has been recently awarded Asian Education Award for the significant contributions into the education community for the year 2020. She is the astute managing director with 25 years of exposure to deal with complex macro issues that has enhanced the company's profitability and longevity by providing innovative turnkey solutions to clientele, which includes leverages exemplary communication and establishes good connect positive brand while fostering continuous client engagement. She adapts herself at work, effectively achieve goals both as a cross-functional team member and as individual. Welcome, Ms. Shetty, to our show. Ms. Shetty, you have heard what Dr. Abraham has mentioned, and he has given the negative aspect of the COVID-19 impact on society, including the politics, religion, education, and the employment, everything. He said that they said lots of negative impact, and that impact will definitely impact the society as whole. Then Advocate Yamini Ramanacharya mentioned that there is a positivity, and he mentioned about the positiveness of the COVID-19, although he also mentioned few negative points. But according to Mr. Rakesh Kumar Jha, there are positive points and negative points, But if we will not take care, then we have to shift it, because the society, entire society's mindset will be changed, or the setup of the society will change post-COVID era because of the COVID-19 impact, which is very badly impacted in all spheres of life. But he says there is a fear phobia also, which we should not have. Now, we would like to know from you the COVID-19 impact on society. Ms. Suparna Shetty, please.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Goyal. And I thank all the panelists that's chosen to be a part of this discussion. So it's a privilege to be a part of the team right now and to talk about the societal impact on COVID-19. Now, because of I'm closely connected, and for me, it's very personal when I'm talking about the education industry. Of course, the work life is different, but then I would like to talk about the impact. The biggest impact right now has been on the education system. So we can see globally what we have seen around the researchers and the estimates have seen that 1.2 billion students are out of college environment right now. And that's really a very shocking number. So as a result, it's of course an impact, but as a result, what we have seen is a very significant and a very positive change from the education sector, who has contributed tremendously by getting an online platform or collaborating with public and private sectors to ensure this community, which has been now hit badly because of coronavirus, have gotten together, and they are distinctively seeing that they can positively now look for a change. So what are we actually looking for when it comes to the education system and the changes they have implemented is because the change has been so sudden. The shift has become from classroom to an online platform. So people were not ready. There was no preparedness among the citizen or the population itself for such a drastic shift, because there was a lifestyle which was followed for several decades, and there is a certain norm that every family used to follow, but then this shift has become a terrible impact psychologically and socially as well, and definitely not to rule out the economic impact within the families and also as an organization, or if you look into a larger scope globally as well. So this is one way, but the positive side of COVID-19, where I have seen it as a very positive move, because people have gone to a great level of critically thinking and creatively coming up with so many brilliant ideas, and innovations have taken place during this time. Lot of innovations. I can personally see individuals who are not ready to change. It was so difficult, especially the old traditional teaching system, which is so rigid to change, have really taken significant steps to move from a classroom platform to an online platform. There is tremendous effort from each and every individual teachers to see that the most affected population, that is the students, the young adults, and the university goers, are now at least coming to interact with us. The effect could be the downside of all this sudden shift of change. What has happened is there were three things actually, because the shift was so quick to see that they were not trained. So the impact has been less training. They was not trained enough to get into an online platform. So that was there. Definitely a challenge. The second challenge was the insufficient bandwidth. So I'm only looking for India as our nation. We're just moving towards smart city. We have just gotten a lot of bandwidths now, but it's the sudden shift, and then COVID being there, all travel restrictions. So even if there are units who want to come and help the school or the infrastructure, the travel was restricted. So those travel restrictions. So definitely there was a challenge with insufficient bandwidth. And then the third one would be, which has resulted in the end user consumption. See, that's why there was such a negative impact when teachers went online to do lessons, because they just want to do it and ensure that the children are not missing out. This is all good intention, and but teachers were judged by we commoners. Now that was something which, as this is a humanitarian day, and I think we as humans have started adapting to this paradigm shift of how we are looking into situation right now. But what we also need to do is accept that change, wholeheartedly, and ensure that we back the system to go through all these phases. Of course, it will take time. We definitely cannot look this year from the education point. We definitely cannot look this year as a 0 year. Because what's going to happen, they need to be participating. You can have a longer academic year, that's fine, but there has to be participation of the community with the education system, and give them an adaptable mechanism saying that we support you, because this is the only time we as humans can, come together as one and support each other. Now, what would be the other one is the impact on the younger children, because they are very distracted by this time. They're very distracted. So they need a structured way of discipline and all of that, where now parents actually form the strongest pillar to support these younger children. So they need to be, what it means is that a disciplined parent would would find it very easy to discipline a child, but an indisciplined parent would really struggle to get him disciplined because of the psychology, what they're going through. It could be that there would be a lot of influences in the parent's mind, but what's happening in the teacher's side, if you see, they are all together to make a difference and bring in the change and accept the change that has happened, because there is nothing going to be post-COVID. This is going to be a new normal, which means we have to get adapted to the change very quickly. Of course, sectors will suffer, but it is a time for us to all stand together as one and find a solution. So that's one message what I would give. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Shetty, for giving the details, and your main concentration or focus was on the education. And you says that because of the COVID-19, the best part is the new innovations have taken place, and people are coming out with something new with the online. But there are challenges also, because first challenge, you say that the teachers are not trained for online, because we have shifted as all of a sudden from the physical teaching to the online teaching. Secondly, you said because of the technology, we all have shifted to on the online, but because of the bandwidth and our network problems. So that is also a very big challenge. And third challenge, which according to you is which is under the control of us, that is we are judging the teachers when they are teaching the online. So that is also a challenge which in education they all are facing. And you have mentioned very clearly, Ms. Shetty, that we have to live with it, but we cannot term this year as a 0 year. It can be a bigger year, it will be a stretched year, but the education has to be there in that way. And according to you, we have to face together, and then only we will be able to sustain ourselves in this COVID era. Thank you, Ms. Shetty, for giving so much details about the impact on the society because of the education, which is very, very prime thing in the society. Now I would like to ask Dr. Abraham. Dr. Abraham, do you think we will be adapting old age untouchability again? See, earlier we were having untouchability because of the caste, creed, religion basis. But today, because of the COVID, everyone is untouchable. one has to keep a distance of 6 feet or 2 meters. So in the society, the new norm will be not to touch anybody. And if anybody by accident, if he will touch, definitely the person will irritate, will become, and he or she will not like it. So we are going to a old era of 100, 200 or 300 years back, when the untouchability was very prominent in our country. Are we going to that era now globally? Dr. Ibrahim, please.
Sir, very interesting question. The untouchability we practiced earlier and the untouchability we are practicing now are totally different. As you know, the earlier untouchability was based on caste. They said that the Shudras should stand there, the Kshatriyas should stand here, the Vaishyas or the Brahmins should stand here in the social order. And there was no intermixing either on marriage or society or congregation or anywhere. Totally isolated or separate. And that was okay. It was at that time, there were certain reasons or an historical evolution for such untouchability. But today's untouchability is, but there was touchability in between the caste. The Brahmins were equal. They are touching together. The Kshatriyas were even touching among them. Vaishyas or Shudras or the caste inside intermixing was there. But today, the untouchability is totally different. We are not touching the hands of the people because we are afraid that every hand which I see or you see may contain COVID virus. So that is the only reason. Otherwise, we have not yet separated people by any other means. Otherwise, we are chummy and we are social. We would like to hug people or shake hand and all that. Therefore, this kind of untouchability, which is now practiced, social distancing, what we call the social distancing, will go away and people will practice. But more of maybe the Indian tradition of Namaste and then not much of the Arabic kind of beer hug and then embracing and all that. But it may be more of a little more restraint between people in the social sphere. But in the other sphere, the family sphere and the intimate sphere, people will still, even now you can see in the home, the people, once you are in the family, inside the family, the children, the parents, they are all very close. They don't keep that social distance inside the house. But outside the house, certain change in the social interaction will come. People may not come too close. They may not invade the personal space. They may keep away from the personal space even in future. Otherwise, when we converse, we used to come into the personal space. But now we may keep more on at the social space of say 3 feet or whatever that distance. So I feel that it will all come back. Maybe it may take a little time, but that's my opinion about that.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim, for giving your views. Dr. Ibrahim, thank you very much for giving your views. And according to you, the untouchability earlier was because of the caste system, but now it is not due to caste. It is because of the COVID-19. And yes, till the time the COVID-19 is there, we will not touch, or touch means that we will keep the social distancing or physical distancing as per the norms, but there is no such type of untouchability which was earlier there, and it was only because of the caste. Otherwise, same caste people used to touch each other, hug each other, shake hands with each other. But now, because of the COVID-19, no one, once you are out from your home, you are not touching or not even shaking hands. And it's good in one way that we are going for our old tradition of namaskar or doing that type of things. Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim, for giving your views about this. Now my question is to Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, do you think new norms will be applicable on society due to COVID? Because what we are seeing is that social distancing, then no much big fat weddings or the parties. no much interaction with each other. So when we will not have all those things, and even the online education, the student is confined to his home, then according to you, there will be a new norm which will be totally changing the fabric of or the thread of the society because of the COVID-19. Mr. Jha, please.
Yes, Dr. Goyal, you see, because India caters a lot of youth, and we should not forget that India, there is two India, India and Bharat. Still, if you go to village, I belong to a village, the people are not following that kind of practice. Even today, they are doing all kinds of things. They are doing rituals like bhoj, parties, celebration, Durga Puja. And I think they do not have that much of awareness. Yes, the people who are educated, they have a lot of things in their mind that we should have wash hand, we should do this, we should that. I mean, a lot of things there in their mind. So the parameters that the government has made is very difficult to be maintained by the weaker sections. I mean, the people who do not have that much of capacity. Just near my house, there is a metro construction. It's a practical example that I am giving. They are not following any kinds of norms. Even in Delhi, I am telling you that they are not following, I mean, the labor center. When I asked them, they said, just you see, Bhagwan hai, wahi bachayenge. So like that kind of philosophy is guided by most of the Indians, particularly in the remote areas. So they are not going to that much of panic and all. Yes, the people, the gentry class have a lot of things in their minds, so they can practice kind of distance and all. They are also awaiting injection, because this vaccination will come. They will preferably go for that maybe yearly or 2 yearly and whatever they can do. Then maybe slightly this norms will come down, and then people will mix and together. But this impact, I think at least 1 to 3 years, we will have a lot of phobia. I told you, the psychologists from AIMS, they are saying that's like a COVID phobia. So it's a COVID phobia. People are not going to visit your place, my place. I'm not going to another place. So precisely, in a nutshell, I am saying that the social distance must be maintained as per the government guidelines. One more interesting point I am saying, it's a government report that what is happening with the, I mean, the beggars who are living on the street. They are not having any kinds of COVID and any kinds of, they are getting from different kinds of things. They are exposed to the people. They are taking food from different houses. So this is also a biggest challenge, that what is the, I mean, their capacity, so that they cannot be COVID prone and all these things. So precisely I can say that this COVID crisis has brought us to a lot of alarming things, and we should have a lot of cleanliness and everything as our ancestors would have. And their practices were different, but our practices are very much different. And we should have a kind of social distance, the government norms we should follow up, and then we should live for a better society. We should give, as far as lastly I am saying the education is concerned, yes, it's a good blessing in disguise that the youth should go for online education, because there are some sectors, Mr. Goyal, where we can go for online things like the education, like the consultancy, like other fields, like the railway tickets and all, people are now enjoying. So the education should be enjoyed by the parents and the teachers and everyone, because it will cut the cost also, and you have a lot of opportunities from Bangalore, from Delhi, from Chennai, from any part of the country or from any part of the world. You can enjoy the best things. But as far as practical things are concerned, like the industry manufacturing, like the hospitals, like other things are concerned, that is not feasible at any cost. Like as you had told me earlier, the training part of the IAS, IPS and IFS, that is not possible. So that is the compulsion. But for a certain period, we should have the social distance, and that way we can become. And as our philosophy is that very important, that this thing, every time it comes like a mawsam, garmi, barsat, dhoop and all. So I think we should have faith in our Almighty that after 5 months, 6 months or 1 year, this thing will be very fine. We should have our on injections, everything, and we will have a very good life once again, and we should contribute for the human civilization and to the society also. So this is my
thank you, Mr. Jha, for giving the details. And according to Mr. Jha, there is the labor class or the lower sector is not following the norms of the social distancing. He has given an example of the construction near his house of the metro train, where the laborers are not keeping the social distance. But he says there is a blessing in disguise, that the education which has become now online is a very good thing which one has to enjoy, and one has to go for that, except the training part where because he is training this IAS and IPS for the coaching of them. So he says that the training part is a bit difficult, it's not possible online, but otherwise everything can be done. And he says that it's like a weather, like all the weathers, whether cold or summer or monsoon, this will also go after some months or the year, and then again we will have our own social life and our society will be intact as it was. Thank you, Mr. Jha, for giving you the details. Now I would like to go to our next guest, and she's Ms. Shetty. Ms. Shetty, do you think human will become family centric now? Because what we have seen, because of the lockdown, everybody is locked down in his or her family, and they are now exploring the virtues of the family, which earlier it was missing because everybody was so busy in the work. They are going morning to evening, they are busy, and then they are so much tired they cannot give the time to the family. But now because of the lockdown, the human has become family centric. If they will become family centric, then what impact it will be on the society? Ms. Shetty, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goel. See, this is such a beautiful thing, a very beautiful question. Will now humans be family-centric? Isn't it a very positive thing for us to think that now humans are becoming family-centric, which was a big struggle 6 months ago to actually get this whole ecosystem together? You know, to get the whole ecosystem. It could be the work ecosystem, the employee-employer relation. It could be an ecosystem between the school, teacher, and the parents. It could be that ecosystem, or an ecosystem within the family where grandparents teach, husband, wife, and because we're all living in a nuclear family. The impact of COVID is so positive if we really see that it has united we as one as ecosystems, which means if you're looking for my employee-employer relation, now we have seen all the tech giants who have leveraged their employees to work from home as long as they can. That's a very significant move. Now, otherwise, they wouldn't even have thought of such an opportunity. Of course, here and there would have been work from home aspect, but now that's one positive thing, so that they can now be there for the children. While I say that, now again, if you see from the teacher, school, or university parent-student ecosystem, we are now binding them together and standing as one to accept those changes. And most important person for a child or a young adult to stand next to him after teacher has always been a parent. I know why I'm saying after teacher has a parent, because child is pushed to school even before he knows what school is, because with this fast-paced life, right? You know, the moment they're not even waiting for the child to be 3 years old, you're just pushing it, and it's just captivated and just taken into that industry of schooling. But right now, parents are a very strong pillar. So what always the child has confided to the teacher's request, he found teacher a lot stronger. So these are like a very strong pillar of an institution, like a father, mother, and a teacher are the strong pillars, like how we see in the Ashoka Chakra as well. Now, from the family perspective, we have seen a very stronger bonding. Grandparents are now, are getting a chance to spend some time with their children. The parents are all there. They're all cooking, which means junk food elimination has happened. So they're all cooking at home. There has been financial abundance. I don't know, I can't agree more, because there has definitely been financial abundance in the family because of extracurricular activities which used to happen once upon a time. After 6 months, if they have literally reviewed their financial system, they would have seen they have gotten richer. You know, so which is a very positive impact, because there is less spending, and there has been simple eating habits, you know, especially during the lockdown of 21 days where everyone froze together, not even to move out. There was a habit that was created unknowingly, of course, with this invisible force called COVID-19, unknowingly it was created, which is a beautiful thing to happen. And I think this is exactly what needed to happen many years ago. And now gotten together for that. Practice of social distancing, this is something very new for Indians, because we don't know the space, how much space should be there between people, because we just want to barge the privacy of a person, which is not very uncommon if you go globally. So what we used to do in schools is we used to tell children how important it is to maintain distance. We had to explain them in schools, it's important to wash hands. But that is the normal thing to do. There's nothing new about it. It's only got a significant role now with COVID-19, which is the best practice of being human. So I think being human, this is the best practice. You know, we are not used to it as Indians, but I think this is the beauty of what we see as the impact of COVID-19, Mr. Doyle.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Shetty. And Ms. Shetty has mentioned that this is a very good thing because of the COVID. Now, the value of the family is very important, and the parents, the grandparents are spending quality time with their children, and everyone is cooking food, so less expenses. According to her, the balance sheet of a person will be in positive side after the COVID-19 because the less expenses. And she, although I disagree, because there are so many job and employment, we have to see to them also what is going to happen to them. But that is a different aspect. But yes, what you are saying is correct. In one way, those who are spending lots of money going out, spend on the restaurants and eating junk foods, etc. Now they are saving the money. Second aspect, she says that the teachers and the parents, they are the pillars of a development of a child. This is also a very positive aspect, because the children which were shown door, or which were sent to the schools in a very, very early age, are now there with them. They can see their development. And according to her, it's a COVID-19 is having a very, very positive impact as far as the family is concerned. And if the family is happy, then definitely the society will be also in a positive way. Now, the last round, but we have to be very, very brief. Dr. Abraham, your suggestion to the government and advice to public.
To the public, I'd like to say that we have to struggle to cope with the new normal. That is, the new normal is wearing mask, keeping social distancing, then washing, personal hygiene, then of course care for self and care for the elders, care for the family, care for the children. And as our Acharya said, the positive aspect of discipline, keeping certain discipline, and imposed discipline on us. So far it was imposed discipline. The government said, don't move, 21 days you are in. Okay, we had no option. But hereafter, that discipline should be imbibed and we should be more disciplined. This is what I would like to say or advise to the public. One more or a few more. Learning new survival skills. We have to learn new survival skills like working from home, being more productive, being more adaptable to our family and elders and children. Then inventing and accepting new norms, as we said about meeting with other people, social etiquette, all these things we have to learn new skills, survival skills, and also newer technologies like robotics and AI and our other digitalized services. So these are some of the things we have to
Okay.
take and adapt. And of course, for the government, as we always say, they have to look after the bottom 10% or 20%.
Okay. Thank
Profusely transfer income to them so that they will survive this another 6 months or 1 year, and they will adopt the government, and the society will adopt new norms of new employment, new creations of companies, all those things. But till that time, they should live. So profuse transfer of income to them. Spend the maximum for speeding up the invention of vaccine.
So thank you very much for your suggestions and advice. Mr. Rakesh Kumar Jha, very brief, please. I am constraint of the time, please. Your suggestion and advice.
Yeah. My suggestion is very simple. You see, the government should make the policy for two classes. One have, another is have not. I mean the skilled and unskilled people. The skilled people who are trained in a different sectors, they should have a kind of platform, because India is still stuck in a kind of traditional mindset. If government launches any kinds of website for the different category, for the different professionals like the doctors, the engineers, and all the people, so we should have a lot of things opportunity to do with the government's websites, and government and people have, even the parents and people will have a lot of faith. The second, the unskilled people, those do not have a lot of things, the government should also focus to them, and locally they can take up with the administration and they can have some kinds of, I mean, the employment opportunity. And third, that I am saying that because we are going to compete with the global economy, so why not the Indian government is going to start a kind of Amazon and other kinds of things. Already the Reliance people are going to start. So the government should start these things. So different sectors of the society, different of the society would be associated, would love to associate with the government system. And that will be the great contribution. For this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jha, for giving your advice. Now, Ms. Shetty, please. Please unmute. Brief.
For the final talk here, I only want to say it would be very important. Resilience must be built into our education system, which now covers both the public, government, and everyone. So resilience must be built into our education system. Is what I would love to say as my final message. The situation of COVID-19 as a positive era of evolution of being humans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Shetty, for giving your advice and suggestions. So today you have seen that the COVID-19 impact on society and the views expressed by our eminent guest, because COVID-19 had impacted very badly to everyone, but there is a positive aspect also. And we have to see the positive aspect. Then only we will be able to see to it that we will come back early to the normals once this COVID will go. And for till that time, we should not think that everything is negative. There are lots of positive things which has been expressed by our eminent guest. So today's program, which has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Karo News, as well as was shown live on Facebook, YouTube. Please keep watching Media Conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. every day. And tomorrow we have a very important aspect which was discussed even today, and every time, that is, the topic is COVID-19 challenges of parenting. Yes, challenges of parenting, which is also a very, very important topic. And the participants are Dr. Rajiv Anand, Senior Psychiatrist and Marriage Counselor, Mumbai. Then we have Ms. Shalini Sinha, ex-principal, Study Hall School, Lucknow. Then we have Ms. Madhuri Sharma, professional trainer and academic consultant, Mumbai. And we have Ms. Aditi Raheja, senior special educator, Chandigarh. So tomorrow, please tune in to watch Media Conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, all the viewers, and thank you, our eminent Dr. P.K. Ibrahim.